I live reading. In a world of reels and swipes, it seems weird to say. So what if other people had to say? Successful, powerful, influential, famous people. Barack Obama said, reading is the gateway skill that makes all other learning possible. Taylor Swift, that I wouldn't be a songwriter if it wasn't for books that I loved as a kid. I think that when you can escape into a book, it trains your imagination to think big and to think that more can exist than what you see. And Maya Angelou, I'm so impressed again with the life-giving power of literature. If I were a young person today, trying to gain a sense of myself in the world, I would do that again by reading, just as I did when I was young. Napoleon Bonaparte, show me a family of readers, and I will show you the people who move the world. And Charlie Munger, in my whole life, I have known no wise people over a broad subject matter area who didn't read all the time. None. Zero. And Albert Einstein, somebody who only reads newspapers and at best books of contemporary authors, looks to me like an extremely nearsighted person who scorns glasses. He's completely dependent on the prejudices and fashions of his times, since he never gets to see or hear anything else. What are some other benefits that reading has? Reading literature increases our EQ, and EQ has been shown to be far more important than IQ. This is because there's no easy answer in literature. Instead, there's only perspective taking. Reading literature, that EQ, it leads to getting to know oneself, to build empathy, so to get to know others, and increase critical thinking. And if it's about getting info elsewhere, that we don't need to read, we can get information from podcasts or from videos or the news. But if we look at what our reading speed is, the average reading speed versus the average talking speed, or that difference, it really shows that it's so much more efficient to read. What does reading mean for me, and what I hope it could mean for others as well? Reading is the chance for us to connect with others. F. Scott Fitzgerald, he said that is the part of the beauty of all literature. You discover that your longings are universal longings, that you're not lonely and isolated from anyone. You belong. It's also humbling because that part, it makes us realize that we have no unique thought anymore. Abraham Lincoln said books serve to show a man that those original thoughts of his aren't very new after all. George Orwell similarly said that whatever thought you're having right now, there's a million people thinking the same thing. In a way, it's humbling. In other way, it takes pressure off us. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We couldn't. All of our thoughts before, it's been shared by others, and reading lets us find this out. It's also plain simply amusing. One can have a good chuckle, get to know characters, one feels very invested. Yes, reading is escape, but also it's the opposite of escape. It's the way to make contact with reality after a day of making things up, and it's a way of making contact with someone else's imagination after a day that's all too real. Virginia Woolf put it very well, that books are the mirrors of the soul.